All right, I'm just going to pop in for a quick vid. I wanted to talk about conspiracy theory, which is a term. It's two separate words in a way, right? But it's really one word, conspiracy theory. And that's come to mean, the establishment dictionaries will say it's something false. So that's a travesty because in a democracy, you have a duty to theorize about the elites conspiring against you. That's what you should be doing. But funny how when these people decide what's taught in schools, you're taught that it's inappropriate to imagine the powerful people doing something inappropriate with their power. Isn't that fascinating? It's like so simple, but that's what we need to do is get back on track. And so we need to teach. So that like a initial solution would be to teach conspiracy theory. So summer classes we should have. We should have libraries where we do summer classes and teach conspiracy theory. We just set up a classroom. Who wants to learn about this? Yeah, and then hey, we could just gather people in Austin or anywhere here in Austin if you want to do that. That sounds doable, right? And then I could just give my 30 seconds about one-to-one representation. Because see, instead of each little solution, how about we have a committee that represents us, a group of people, a person that you chose, not anyone that you don't want. If you don't want them, you chose yourself. So this person is better than you in the community. So that's how perfect it is. And all it is assigning an RQ, a number. How many people do you represent? That's all. So any group of people still do whatever they do, but you're in the grocery store, it's RQ 45, walking down the aisle, he says he likes that bread. That's 45 people that said he likes the bread, but what power did they give him to speak on what behalf, right? So we could gather conspiracy theorists on certain things, have different subjects, or have several people together where they kind of debate and talk about what they know and share it with other people. That'd be interesting. But anyway, the thing is, you want that. You want that for your child. You want your child to understand conspiracy theory, healthy conspiracy theory. There's a problem that you get psychos. So when you are anything kind of fringe, there's several reasons why people that are not, they're unstable, or something's going on, they're not, and it doesn't help that you find out everyone's evil and, doing all these terrible things. So along the way, they've been sort of driven mad by that, I guess, in some respects. But you need to get back on track with reality. One thing I want to point out to conspiracy theorists is that when you're thinking about this, remember, you don't know what actually happened. When you find all the evidence in the world, you don't know. And this is really a philosophy of agnosticism. And that's a difficult thing for people to accept. But that is something you really want to get as a child, understand the concept. You don't know everything. But we say we know. Like we know the earth is round, but we don't know it's round. We don't absolutely know without a doubt because we're trusting our memories and all that kind of crap. But we need almost another word for, where we know. Or just, that's what I mean. Like, we don't need a word for it. Just say, I know that. And everyone knows in reality, I'm a little tiny greasy homo crawling around on the earth. What do I know? I mean, the vastness of the universe, divide you by the vastness of the universe, like where? So anyway, conspiracy theory. And I was thinking about how we as homos taxonomize things. We label things. So inevitably, what happened was people that started finding out about stuff here and there or had theories about stuff were just kind of grouped together in our mind. But we need to really define there's good conspiracy theory and then there's bad conspiracy theory. And not think of it as something that is, well, that's with everything, really. You shouldn't weaponize words. There's an idea behind the word, and the idea has good traits and bad traits. I mean, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and all that. So, conspiracy theory, I encourage us to use the word correctly. And also, people will say, it's not conspiracy, it's fact. What you mean to say is it's not theory, it's fact. The theory is what you're saying. you're saying it is a conspiracy, right? Conspiracy is a group of people conniving to do something. So you are saying that you want people to understand there is a conspiracy, but now we have people using it to be that conspiracy means a lie. It's just like a grammatical syntactic thing or whatever, but like, I see people do that. It's fascinating. Um, yeah, well, they shorten it to conspiracy. I understand what's functionally happening. And speak words whatever you want and mean whatever you want by whatever words you like to choose. But that's that. And then so we are being taught, because elites come together and do things they don't want you to talk about, they don't want you to know about, that kind of thing. Even if it's not nefarious, there's just that they don't have a desire to be under the spotlight. And so we need to teach people that no, it's good. It's healthy to be a conspiracy theorist, to theorize, use your logic, stress that critical thinking, debate it, encourage kids, like in high school, would be perfect to be debating conspiracy theories. And if the reality is, when you start doing conspiracy theories about, Abraham Lincoln, the Civil War, you're paying attention at a different level. When you understand that, well, wait a minute, they didn't meet. How did the United States have a legitimate Congress if they didn't meet? They had to kind of just, we'll just write this here. I wrote it on the wall. It's okay now. They had to do a little hoop jumping to get that to happen. You don't have a quorum of people. So anyway, what I'm talking about with one-to-one representation, there's no quorum, there's no body that's the Boer of any group that's big enough would never be in one place at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of people. The Boer for the United States citizens of adults would be like millions of people, easily, tens of millions, really, because everyone who votes for themselves is a representative. You qualify as a representative. If the U.S. the Boer, they are giving donuts to the Boer members, you're a Boer member, even if you just voted for yourself. So, but you're at the very end, and no one should listen to someone that just has no one else supporting them, like me. Hey, I got to celebrate 8th subscriber. It's fantastic. Now, I'm not really putting effort. I'm now able to edit videos, and I'm not going to be talking about that right now. This is supposed to be conspiracy theory. So remember that when you use words, that's the actual use of the word. When you start to use a word a different way, the language is beginning to change. If you're just one person, you're just doing it by yourself, that's very small amount of change. But you are a language speaker. If you're an English language speaker and you use an English word differently, that is changing the language. That's what etymology is. It's just keeping track of the history of that. But the bottom line reality is the meaning of a word is only what the speaker, the user of the word. When a person conjures a word and adds meaning to it, that's the meaning of that word, right? That iteration of that word. It's confusing as well because when we say word, we mean this theoretical word that sort of like universally is understood to be a certain thing or a certain level of things, list of things. But the real reality of what the word means, each word that exists, an actual word, only means what the person, what meaning they put into it. So that's something that's not taught in schools. There's a lot of things not taught in schools, little fundamentals. And so that's right there. That's one, because that allows your brain to be free. It allows your brain also to question, like, well, what does this guy mean by that? And when you start questioning what people mean, you're examining the journalists, all the propagandists, everything the establishment's offering. And so most adults want that for their children in a healthy way. They don't want them questioning the core values that they have. But that's what's important. You need to share your core values, pass them down to your children, and tell them, hey, you're going to pass your core values down to your children. You can take mine or not. You can add to it, take away from it, or throw it entirely in the trash and start new. But you need to pass wisdom, core values. Wisdom really, I think, sums it up better, because just like some guidance, and then so you have people that don't give any guidance at all, like they're just complete non-institutional of any kind, no religion whatsoever, not even an atheist kind of gatherings or anything. And then you have, which is, terrible. I think that you should give some guidance to your kids. Then you have the other hand where people think they just tap the deck. Like say you're Catholic and you go, oh yeah, well it's the Bible, I guess. Your kids aren't learning anything from the Bible. It's what do you mean? Oh, thanks for the summary, Dad. I mean, what do you mean? This is guidance on how to do anything? A bunch of stories about stuff. So pass down and try to keep it the smaller the better. So let's say you can't even think of anything. If you come up with a few, 5, brilliant. 3 to 5 things is what a human can wrap their mind around and memorize. They really could do a lot more. You can do a lot more, sure, but it's legitimate to do 5 major things. And there's something to keeping it because we don't want to just pass down this is a way of, solving all the problems in the universe. You start at the core core level of human growing, give them wisdom from someone that cares about them and tell them to generate wisdom and process through their life. So after several generations, you have people sharing and similar ideas. Oh, that's your wisdom. That's my wisdom. And then we can develop like a religion from the ground up, a grassroots sort of religion based on what we want, whatever it is. I mean, if you still want to worship demonic forces, that's your business. But I mean, we could do whatever we wanted to do. We would make sure it's good. Now, if you are believing that magic beans and unicorns, you would say, oh no, it's already been determined what I need to do. And so there's nothing you can do. Well, then pass that down or whatever. So, that's that. So thank you for watching this. I guess I do want you to clickety click and notify and smiley face and everything because I guess I need that, of course, for the algorithm to work. But that's another point I want to make. It's like if we had one-to-one representation, you wouldn't need that. I would be able to be represented for the amount that I am. I wouldn't have to gather people to pretend to be something more significant than I am. But anyway, I mean, all I have to do is I have a few things to offer, and then that's it. I'm not going to be an entertainment channel where you're going to be just, dazzled with the new Bo show or something. So, but I mean, if you can help out, I guess, and speak for yourself. No one's preventing you from representing yourself, from electing a representative of yourself. You can represent yourself, or you can elect someone else, anyone you want. Say it out loud. You've done it. That's electing. Electing means someone is elected. So if you elect someone and say, I elect this guy to speak on my behalf of the federal government of the United States, he is elected. No one's debating that, right? If you elect somebody, they are elected, right? So I'm just making sure, throw water on them, they are wet, right? That's all we're saying. So it's just a word.